All right, so this video is for the MACD. We're going to talk about how to use the MACD, specifically in multiple time frames, and how when they are in harmony, they actually give us really good insight on price movement. So first, we're going to go up here and we're going to add it. Just search MACD. This actually stands for moving average, convergence, divergence. All that means is we're using two moving averages and measuring when they're coming closer together or farther away. All right, so this next step after we add the MACD is key. You can see it's kind of noisy here. It's pretty choppy. So you have to go in. We're going to adjust the settings, doubling the first one, doubling the second, and then changing this one from 9 to 50. What this does is it significantly makes this data more smooth. All right, so first, MACD should be in the green. The green represents buying momentum for both dark green and the lighter green. And then the red, that represents the momentum overall for the supply and demand is selling. So you need to be on the right side of that. So if we're making money as the markets go up, we need to be in the green. Next, we're going to zoom in to the daily. So each candle now represents 1 day. Previous represented 1 week. So this is also in the green. The buying momentum since mid-April, you can see the result. And then this is a pretty helpful signal right before coronavirus hit. Would have saved you a pretty good chunk of change, whether you're just using a 401k, and a regular brokerage account, stock, options, anything. You need to watch this very carefully and always be in harmony with these green bars. All right, next we're going to look at the 6 hour. You could see these crossovers happen more frequently, and what we're looking for is taking advantage of these crossovers. Here's a great signal, entering, and then what I personally do is I like to zoom in even a little bit more, and I used my 1 hour as my exit. So the best way, in my opinion, is we're going to start back. Weekly, they give us the green light. The daily's giving us the green light. Whenever the 6 hour, as long as they stay in the green, we still have the green light. And then we need to see the green light in this hourly. Not saying that because it's in red bars, the market's going to tank, or the QQQ. However, you don't know how far something is going to fall until it's already fallen and started bouncing. Whenever you backtest these signals, you can tell that sometimes there's little fake outs. And what's key though, whenever you look at this date on the bigger time frames, you can tell that it actually wasn't in agreement. Whenever you backtest these signals, if the 1 hour gives a false signal like this, there's a pretty good chance that one of your bigger MACDs aren't agreeing with the 1 hour. And that's a way to save yourself some headache. I personally go all the way down to the 1 hour. For people that are working and they're not able to access this data as much, you can stick with just the weekly, daily, and the 6 hour. However, if you're using options or larger sums of money and you see these signals like this where you entered, I would consider exiting when you start seeing a couple of these lighter green bars, because that represents the buying momentum is still overall buying. However, it's starting to slow down when these green bars show buying momentum is accelerating that entire time. So it's super helpful. The 1 hour does give better insight, honestly. However, it's up to the individual what they are comfortable with, what their work-life balance says is or agrees with. But even just these 6 hour, they give some pretty good signals on when the tide is changing. Last thing I want to note for this MACD is you can tell, so here the crossover from the green bars to the red, it obviously was a great signal. What's interesting is you could tell that not every crossover is going to be that big. So here, small one, barely did anything. September last year. However, you can tell that when they do happen, it does mean that there's definitely a change occurring. I personally don't ignore these. I always listen to them, even though that these fake outs can happen. That's just part of the game. But for example, here's all the way back in fall 2018. When these occur, they should not be ignored just because you don't know when this next big sell-off or just like COVID is about to happen. And then you can, when you look at these, you'd be like, oh, this is a green, this is a buy signal. But when you look at this same time frame back on the daily candles and weekly, this actually wasn't a good buy signal. So in conclusion, we're using the MACD to identify windows. So green bars, and then green bars. Lastly, the 1 hour. When they all agree, it's excellent opportunities to buy calls, or for those that just want to do covered calls when they're buying the stock. It's completely up to the individual. Everyone's lifestyle is a little different, what they're interested in, but these can provide tremendous opportunities for individuals that are watching this and understand it on a regular basis.